Welcome to the Cup of Joe Show, the podcast where Senator Joseph Cryan talks about the latest in New Jersey's 20th Legislative District. This week's guest, Union County St. Patrick's Day Parade Grand Marshal, Kerry Schardien-Ricci.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Cup of Joe. And today we are especially honored to have the Grand Marshal of the Union County 2026 St. Patrick's Day Parade, Union's own native, Kerry Schardien-Ricci. Kerry, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be here.
We're excited to have you. So let's do one of the basics first. Tell us, when is the parade and some arrangements that come with it?
Sure. So the parade will be Saturday, March 14th. We start the day with Mass at St. Patrick's down in Elizabeth, Court Street, at 9 a.m. And then we all come on up here. There's events going around throughout the town. And we'll start the parade with a grandstand program at 12 noon. And then the parade kicks off 1 p.m. sharp. We'll be coming down the street, so it'll be great.
Oh, and then the parade's become a tradition here in the township of Union and in Union County, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about that.
So the parade started in 1997. It's a wonderful day for me. What I like to think about of the parade is not just what happens on Morris Avenue. It's all of the things happening around the county. There's organizations having parties throughout the county, families. My mom throws a party at her house and the whole family gathers. And I know she's just one of many, many people throughout the county who really are getting together to celebrate our Irish heritage, teach other people within the community what it means to be Irish. So it's a great opportunity for everybody to come together and celebrate.
And there's a special celebrant on Parade Mass Day, is there not?
Yeah, so we have Cardinal. The Cardinal will be joining us in the morning, as well as the Bishop. So it'll be a great day. We're looking forward to it.
So if you need your prayers answered,
yes.
Come on down to the manse.
It'll be a good day.
Well, we're terribly excited that you took the time to join us today, and most importantly, be very, very excited to walk behind you as you lead the parade down the street. So talk about your involvement. Let's hold off on that. You grew up in the town of Union, did you not?
I did grow up right here in Union. This is my childhood library that we're in, and looks a little different.
Talk about your Irish roots, your heritage.
Sure. So, you talk about growing up in an Irish neighborhood in Vailsburg. I grew up in we called it the mini United Nations. Our little block had families of so many different nationalities and ethnicities, different religions. And our little street, we were all friends. We all played together. Our parents spoke different languages. We ate different foods. We were, I think, the only Irish family on the block. And what was beautiful is we all learned how to celebrate each other. Our parents didn't teach us about tolerance. They taught us about appreciation. Really teach other people about what it means to be Irish. My mom still makes corned beef and cabbage for the neighbors and brings it over, and we celebrate together. But we would be playing a game when we were little kids, and somebody would have to get up and go pray in the other room with their family, and then they'd come back like nothing happened, and everybody we just all got along, and it was a beautiful little kind of melting pot of the community, and it was a great place to grow up.
That's great. And down near Colonial Avenue?
Colonial Avenue, yep.
Okay, a little fun fact about Colonial Avenue this time. Maybe you could share it?
So the Grand Marshal of the Newark Parade also it has ties to Colonial Avenue. My mom still lives there. Jack Dahl still lives there. So she was so excited to know that her neighbor was going to be the Grand Marshal of that parade. Maybe even more excited than her daughter. I don't know, but it was a very fun fact for her.
Okay. We'll talk a little more about your mom, but besides cooking corned beef and cabbage, she's got which I can firsthand tell you. But can you talk, she does some baking too, right?
She loves to do some baking. Actually, she told me earlier today she has some Irish soda breads on hand just in case I need any. So she'll make them for all of our parade masses to give out to different people who are involved. So she loves to do that for everybody.
Yeah, she misses the count usually and makes a few extra.
She makes there's a lot of Irish soda bread math. You tell her if you need 6, you tell her 4 and you get 8. I don't know. It all adds up to her.
Well, we're glad for the math. I can tell you that as somebody who's been the beneficiary of that.
Yes.
So, so you grew up a little bit of the UN, but certainly with an Irish root, Irish heritage, and those sort of things. Why does that matter, and why be part of that in terms of what you do today?
So for us, it was, a huge piece of being Irish is that Catholic faith, right? We grew up going to Catholic school. My parents, that was something that was very important to us. We were parishioners at Holy Spirit, and all of the things that we did through school and through Mass, but that was a big piece of who we were as a family. and just our Irish heritage with my mother's family. They come from County Laois. They still have a family farm back there, and so we heard all about it. And to be 100% honest, I've never been there before.
Really?
So I am planning my first trip ever. I'm going to take my kids later this spring and get to show them Ireland and learn about it from, for that first time for myself. So I'm excited.
Oh, it's when you go back for the first, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You realize you came from somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something special about that.
Yeah.
Good for you, especially coming in after the year leading.
Yes. Yes.
Wow,
It'll be great.
That's absolutely fabulous. So you mentioned you're a Holy Spirit girl. High school?
I went to Roseville Catholic,
Okay.
and all my siblings went there.
Now, I know you've done a lot of academic work past high school, college and masters. Can you talk about that? Let folks know about you a little bit.
Sure. So I went to Roseville Catholic, and I went on to a Jesuit college, which is Fairfield University. So continuing in that same tradition. And then a few years later, I went to Rutgers in Newark for my master's in social work.
And I think you did a year of service too, did you?
I did. I was in the Jesuit Volunteer Corps for a year after graduation, similar to the Peace Corps, things of that sort. There's a lot of volunteer organizations where you can. The tenets of the Jesuit Volunteer Corps are to live in community. You live with your other volunteers. Simple living. You get a very small stipend, and you have to, as a community, decide your food and all of that together. And just to learn what that's like. In addition to that, social justice. My job placement was within the juvenile detention facility, but my roommates worked in addiction recovery or in shelters, things of that sort. So all learning about things that maybe weren't something that I ever knew or understood growing up. I grew up in a very nice middle-class family where I had everything I needed in life. And not everybody is that lucky. So for me, it was the ability to continue my education, to learn what it really means, and to see other people's experience, get a different perspective, and maybe that shifts how we feel and what we think based on not everybody was so lucky, right? And then the fourth tenet is spirituality. So how do I make all of that work within what I believe? And so it was a wonderful learning opportunity. I encourage anybody to do it. I got to pick where I wanted to go, so I said Southern California, because why not?
Smart girl.
Warm and sunny. And then I stayed another year just because I loved the area so much. So it's a great learning opportunity.
So basically a life really framed by service and compassion, spirituality. So as that finishes up, you move into a professional career. And can you talk about your professional career a little bit?
Sure. So the thing that brought me back home from California was my family, but also I wanted to go to grad school. And I was going to go part-time because I wanted to pay for it out of pocket, not take student loans. So it would take 4 years to get a master's in social work that way. And I said, I'm either staying 4 more or I'm coming home. So I moved back to New Jersey. I had worked at the Center for Hope when I was in high school and in college. So I went to work back at the Center for Hope. I ran their children's bereavement camp and coordinated volunteer services for them, and then went to grad school at night and did internships and all of that. And I stayed on there for a while as a social worker. And then about 15 years ago, I moved up to Overlook. I work in the cancer center, the outpatient cancer center there.
And what do you do there?
I am the lead social worker. I do supportive counseling for patients, for their family members, for their children. It's a lot of education and support. It's a very vulnerable time for people. There's a lot of emotions that come with it, and we want to make sure that we take care of people medically, but also all of that other stuff that it brings up for people. Help guide them on how do I manage working through my treatment or taking time off, or how do I pay my bills while I'm trying to go through all of this. So connect them with community resources. There's a lot of great organizations and things out there for people, but you've never had to research this before if you were never in that experience.
So you provide them the references they need at the time they need it the most.
Yeah. So it's a great, I love my job. I love what I do. And I see it as a privilege. You know, people are in a very vulnerable time in their life. And so to be able to walk that journey with somebody, for them to let you in that moment it's a privilege. And I really feel fortunate to do it.
I really want to talk about that a little bit more, because you're talking about a time when someone who's been given a diagnosis has to deal with that, but their family and their supports and all that go with it. You're the counselor. You're the person that comes in and maybe helps the child understand what's happening. So I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Nope.
Right. Well,
That's it. So a little bit of parent education. How do I tell my children? I think the hardest thing for many people when they're given that cancer diagnosis is, how do I be a parent and a patient at the same time? And as a parent, your mind automatically thinks, what about my kids? What am I going to do in all of this? So how am I going to explain it? We want to put our kids in a little bubble and protect them from the world, but we can't. And so how do I shatter that little bubble and get them through this really hard time? And give them the words and the ways that they can support their child. So that parent education piece, but then also sometimes people want to bring their kids in and have them talk to somebody. So that's also part of my role. I have a lot of games in my office and crafts, and we do that kind of stuff too. So it's great.
Wow, it's remarkable work.
I love my job.
I suspect you have some tough stories to tell along the way too.
Some tough stories. I like to look at it from the perspective of, I can't change the fact that somebody has cancer, but if I can make that a little bit easier for them, then I've done my job.
So, and I understand that you've been recognized, some clinical excellence awards and Friends of Nursing. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Okay. And you talk, you go to conferences, webinars, things like that?
Yeah.
So you share this mission?
Yeah, so, either with other professionals working, for example, one of the conferences that I've presented at recently is for school professionals. As a teacher, as a school nurse, as a school guidance counselor, what if somebody in my classroom either has cancer themselves or they have cancer in their family? How do I work with that child? How can I support them from the school setting? So kind of giving them those resources in that moment. Or educational programs for parents or for just patients' families. Things of that sort.
Wow. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot, but it's good.
Well, I have to tell you, normally I don't like to talk much on these, but the speech you gave after, in the parade language, our investiture mass, is the swearing in of the Grand Marshal, so to speak, and the adjutant. And you gave this speech in front of Bishop Lorenzo and others, and those of us that were honored to be there. But this quote that stays with me is one that your mother, who had evidently a number of quotes. Yes. That you don't have to, maybe you could finish it. You don't have to
like everybody, but you do have to love everybody.
Okay, which I just think is amazing. And that's my segue into Camp Fatima. Because at this Mass, which was just so beautiful, at the celebration afterwards, there were a number of volunteers and folks who participate with you from Fatima.
Yes.
And I'd really like you to talk about Camp Fatima to everybody.
So Camp Fatima I told you I love my job. Camp Fatima is my favorite place in the whole wide world. And I could talk about it all day, but I won't. So I will give it to you as a synopsis. My dad found Camp Fatima in the church bulletin at Holy Spirit 30-something years ago when my oldest sister was looking to go to college to study special ed. And so he said, I think you should volunteer. This sounds really nice. So 5 years she went, and 5 years later, when I was old enough, I joined her. My first day at camp ever was my 15th birthday. I say it was my best birthday present ever, and then my brother and his wife had a baby on my birthday. So, and I love that kid. So it's a little bit of a toss-up, but it's an all-volunteer organization. So whether or not you come just for the week or the weekends, or you participate all year long, planning programs, directing things of that sort. All of it is volunteer work. And then the camp is offered free of charge to the children who are at camp. So it's 2 one-week summer camps, sleepaway, but then also 4 weekends for adults with disabilities throughout the year. And then a theater program that we added a couple years ago for young adults with disabilities as well. So it's it's fun and it's joy and it's love and it's like magical, and you never you ever want to say where is it all going right in the world? It's there.
It's there.
It's there.
Camp Fatima.
Yeah.
And what time of year does Camp Fatima? What time?
So it's in August. Every August, my coworkers, God bless all of them, they will come to me and they say, what week is camp this year? I got to work my schedule around. I know you need that week off. So we have people who volunteer as young as 15 and 16. My kids come to camp now. My husband comes to camp. And then we have volunteers who are in their 70s, right? So like a wide range of people who have been coming to camp for a few years and others who have been there for 40 years. And it's the place you just want to keep coming back to. It's great.
I know you received a lot of recognition, but talk to me about what being Grand Marshal means.
It's a little uncomfortable. It's a little uncomfortable. It feels it feels unnecessary, if I could say that. So I'm going to tell you a little family lore. So my grandparents met the day my grandfather was the Grand Marshal of the Holy Name Parade in Elizabeth.
Big deal at the time.
And so that was in 1933. So my grandmother, he died when I was 2. And for the whole, 20-something years that she lived beyond him, there was an 8x10 framed picture of him in his top hat and tails. And she would talk about how he was the most handsome man she had ever seen in that parade. And he, so that's the family lore of a Grand Marshal. That's what I knew of it my whole life. And my grandfather, although I didn't get to know him very much, the stories my mom tells of him are of a person of great integrity and honesty. And he was very into the church and his faith. He was at St. Mary's at that time, and then he was at St. Genevieve's eventually. And so for me, that's why it feels overwhelming. That feels like really big shoes. And to sit with a fellow Grand Marshal and to see the people who have gone before me in this parade as Grand Marshals, it's an amazing honor.
Yeah, the committee I know was incredibly enthusiastic. How'd you feel when you got the call?
A little incredulous.
That's
very overwhelmed, but
you've had some recognition along the way, right? I know selfishly the Cryan Association, you've been our honoree, and I think some others as well. Can you talk about a little bit about that?
Sure. The Daughters of Ireland and the Irish Business Association. That one I had to question because I said, I'm a social worker, right? I'm not a business person. And then very meaningful was the Greta Sheridan Community Service Award from the Nugents, named after somebody who I think just really spoke volumes to community service within our community and within our county. So certainly
along with being part of the Nugents, who are just such a tremendous part of the Irish here in Union County and beyond.
Yes.
Right? So you've had a lot of recognition, but talk now. I just want to kind of move to the parade itself and kind of. So you were nominated and accepted just a couple months ago, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what's it been like? And tell me about what's coming up between now and actual parade day.
So we have a wonderful fundraiser, the Finnegan's Wake and the Guinness Fun Run. My coworker asked me about it the other day. Did she need to train for the fun run? I said, hold off on the training and just show up.
Yes.
So that'll be one of our big fundraisers. There's a lot of things that go into certainly the investiture mass is a beautiful way to kick off the season, but also all the other fundraisers that we have. So it's been fun, and I know the rest of the ride is just like being on the roller coaster. You just got to go, and it'll be busy, but it's great.
And then so the Finnegan's Wake, and you're right, the fun run is as well. Very much natural athletes go
Correct.
That,
yes.
Right? So. And Finnegan's Wake, if the Irish, if you haven't done that, if you can join us, Sun Tavern is really kind of a fun event. Right?
It's a fun event. It's meant to it is meant to be fun and celebratory. It'll be good.
Okay. And then the Monday before the parade, I believe there's going to be a program.
Yes, we're going to have an arts and culture event here at the Union Library, which will be wonderful. Some artwork on display, as well as a traditional Irish set of music where they're going to teach us about instruments of Ireland. Just really an ability to celebrate our culture and our heritage, kind of going into parade season, kind of taking the fun, but also taking the reason behind it all.
I think we're going to have some art around as well.
Yep.
Some cultural things.
Yes.
Okay. So
and then we have a couple flag raisings. There'll be one at the county flag raising, and then there's also one in Roselle as well.
Oh, wonderful. So we'll have an opportunity to celebrate everything leading up to the big day.
Yes.
Okay. So the big day again is?
The big day is March 14th, 9 a.m. at Mass, and then 12 noon at the grandstand, and 1 o'clock we'll get started on marching.
And we can invite folks, if they can hear our voice, if you choose to join us for the Mass, which is beautiful, and obviously, as you mentioned, with the Cardinal and the Bishop, that they can actually participate in a caravan back, correct?
Yes, and it is a caravan, and I think it's a sight to behold. So I think we'll leave it as a surprise for everybody. But you'll get to the parade route quickly. We'll leave it at that.
Right. And then we'll see folks for the grandstand at 12 and parade kickoff at?
The parade kicks off at 1 p.m. sharp. We are dedicating, Joe, I'll tell you, the parade is dedicated to people with disabilities. So something a little bit different that we're adding this year is a quiet zone, a section of the parade that'll have 1 or 2 blocks where the bands take their break. So it'll be for kids who maybe have sensory issues and just need a little bit of quiet, kind of that ability to have that space for them. There'll also be other activities and fun things. I have a longtime friend from Camp Fatima who will be singing our national anthem. So a lot of really great things happening.
Well, it's exciting.
Yes.
And it has been exciting to have you here.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here.
I guess this one we might have called a cup of tea.
Yes.
It might have been a little better, but we'll stick with the cup of Joe, and it's been our great honor to have the 2026 Union County St. Patrick's Day Parade Grand Marshal, Kerry Schardien-Ricci.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely special to have you, and we look forward and invite everybody to come out and join us on Saturday, March 14th, here in the Township of Union, coming down Morris Avenue at 1 o'clock. Come join Kerry, be proud, and if you have anyone with special needs, disabilities in your life, bring them on out. It's going to be special recognition time as well.
Absolutely.
A lifetime of service and a day to be recognized for it. It's our great honor to have you today, and we'll see everybody on March 14th, because if you're lucky enough to be Irish, you're lucky enough. We'll see you then.
That's a wrap on this episode of A Cup of Joe, hosted by Senator Joseph Cryan. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay informed, stay engaged,